Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Brian if you're new around here, but if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back, you legend, you magnificent beast, you incredible individual. That's what you get for subscribing, by the way. Free compliments at the start of these videos. In today's video, we're diving into my Red Mage controller and overview for PvE. This is going to walk you through my logic, my setup, and so much more. And in fact, if you guys are just generally curious and you want to be able to use my setup right out of the gate, check in the comments below. You'll be able to find all of my macros that will actually set up your hotbars for you exactly like you see them here in this video. So guys, feel free to use that as a good template getting started. You just copy those, put them into your own macro system, hit execute, and your bars will get set up. And this will work whether you're level 1 or level 90. It doesn't matter. The system, in fact, as you level up and play this, it's going to end up being, and I think hopefully feeling very natural. But at the same time, I want you to make it your own. Feel free to move any of these abilities around. In fact, if you want to even make your own controller guides, you don't need my permission, but I give it to you regardless. Like, take this, make it your own, and do whatever you can to enjoy Final Fantasy XIV to the best ability that you have. And of course, guys, if you have any questions after this video, please feel free to ask below. Hit me up on Discord or Twitter, and let me know how I can help you enjoy Final Fantasy XIV, especially on a controller, way more. But as this guide is going to be set to go, we're going to talk about setting up your controller for the first time. Now, feel free to use the YouTube playhead below to jump to any particular section that makes the most sense for you. Now, I do ask that if you do get something valuable out of this video, if you feel like I earn it, hit that like button. And, you know, honestly, if you're just here for the macros, if you do let the video play out, that is a great way of it helping it in the algorithm. YouTube will then recommend it, or as people search for these, they'll find them. I'm hearing a lot that people can't find my guides, and honestly, that's kind of natural, and that's just the way it is. So if you feel like this video earns it, like, favorite, subscribe, and share, as it's a great way of helping, you know, this content out. It helps me out, helps me and my family out as well. So I do thank you guys for it. But anyway, we will be walking you through this entire setup. So if you've never seen any of my guides before, note that that's for the first section is going to be primarily for you. But if you're looking for more information, check out my playlist in which that you can find the complete controller guide, which will walk you through all the settings in intricate detail. So that way you can make the most out of your Final Fantasy XIV controller playing experience. But this will just get you started here as well. Then we're going to go over the skills, walk you through all the spells, skills, abilities that the Red Mage brings to the table. Then we're going to talk about my logic and why I've got everything set up the way I have. And then finally, we'll talk about kind of any additional macros, anything in terms of the HUD, anything in terms of my glamour that you guys might want to know. And hopefully that ends up being kind of a complete guide video for you. But hopefully I haven't wasted any of your time so far. So let's go ahead and now dive in to the Red Mage level 90 controller guide. All right, so first and foremost, to get started, I'm going to take you into system and actually system configuration, and then going under gamepad settings. Now, if you actually have your gamepad disabled, I would highly recommend checking it as enabled. And if you have multiple gamepads selected, you can actually see the list of them there, as well as actually change what buttons and symbols appear. Now, obviously, I'm using an Xbox controller. That's my personal preference, but I actually also have a PS5 controller, and that one works great as well. The other thing I'm going to point you to that I do is under my button configuration, I personally changed the R3 click to actually execute macro 99. And to save you guys some time before we jump into the rest of our settings, let me go into the macro section right here and let me show you execute macro 99. Now, while I'll have this in the linked document in the comments, note that this is what I use. This gives me PvP sprint, normal sprint, flying mount roulette, and it just works fantastic. So if I'm out here in the world and I press it, it's going to use my mount. I can use that to dismount. If I jump, I'm going to sprint. Or if I'm in a place that I can't use my mount, it will auto sprint or use PvP sprint, whatever essentially is available. So it's actually a pretty smart little macro that does what I need to do. And so it saves me a couple of little buttons on my layout. Now, outside of that, under Start System Character Configuration, under control settings, you'll see here I use legacy type movement. If you guys want normal, or if you're coming from the keyboard and mouse world, you might enjoy standard type movement. It's really going to be up to you. Legacy means my character runs in whatever direction that I'm holding the left stick in. Now, also what I use is under target, I have enable auto target by priority and currently using closest range, as well as enable full auto target. Those are some settings that I really enjoy. And then under my filters, custom and enemies, I've got my custom turning off party members, as well as enemies turning off party members, because hitting the up and down buttons on the D-pad will actually cycle through your party members whereas in left and right will actually cycle through whatever is going on in the field. In fact, you see here I got a couple targeting dummies. Using left and right on the D-pad allows me to do that. Now if my weapon was out, then essentially in this case it would still literally only target these, and if there's any NPCs in the available, then they would not target them as it's doing. In fact, actually, just to test it out, let me put my weapon away, and you can see here I can actually target an NPC far off in the distance, but with my weapon out there is no such target to be acquired. Now you can also do this and target left and right by holding down either the left trigger or the right trigger, and then using your bumper L1 or L2 to kind of do this as well. And then, or you can actually hold L1 and hit up and down to cycle through your enemy list. So if I actually go ahead and pick on an enemy here just for the sake of it, let me pick on the second enemy. I have a nice little enemy list. Pressing up and down by holding L1 will allow me to change target as well. But I'm going to go ahead and turn off the battle music for you guys at the moment. Let's get back into our character configuration and settings. So note that you can play around with a lot with the filters. Again, I go over in detail with the complete controller guide. Last, I'm going to take you into the hotbar settings. I have hide unassigned slots turned on. If I turn that on, you start to see a lot of little floating little hotbars as well. I also turned off display hotbar numbers. You can have multiple floating hotbars, whether you're a keyboard and mouse controller doesn't necessarily matter. You'll have that full flexibility. Under sharing, you'll see here hotbar 6 through 10 as a part of my shared hotbars, and 7 and 8. That means no matter what job class, whatever I'm playing as, the skills that I set on those bars will be the same across the board. Under the cross hotbar, I have always display cross hotbar. You can turn that off if you want a little bit of a cleaner UI look if you need. I use hold mode, but if your hand dexterity and if you're getting hand fatigue, you can always try toggle and mix, but you will lose out on the expanded cross hotbar and the double cross hotbar here as well, and we'll go over that more in a second. So always display W cross hotbar is turned on, otherwise you can turn that off and it'll still pop up, but ultimately I'm still using it for that ability to see those skills. Then I have return to W cross hotbar after input from the the W cross hotbar in this case, and you can see here how that works out exactly as I want. Then in the settings for custom, I have enabled the expanded controls with left trigger and right trigger. So do that, I get those set of skills. Right trigger and left trigger, I get those set of skills. And you'll see those hotbar 2 left and 2 right. For the double cross hotbar, the double tap one, you get enable. You can have it only with the action buttons there if you need, or you also can have it with the directional buttons. And I have that set to 3 left and 3 right. In fact, you won't be able to drag and drop or move skills onto that bar at all. You actually have to go to the linked bar to be able to make those changes and drag skills on and off. Speaking of which, if you guys do not have access to a mouse, you can always hold down L1, click the R3 stick, and all of a sudden your right stick now becomes a virtual mouse, in which that will allow you to interact with everything using the left trigger and right trigger. So that is that is how you'll be able to drag and drop skills without the need of a mouse available. Now we go into more detail as a part of my complete controller guide, so please check that out if you're looking for just way more information than I'm going to provide you here. All right, so now we come to our spells, skills, and abilities overview. We're going to go through each and every one as you learn them, so that we all have that good foundational understanding of what a red mage brings to the battlefield. Now first, we can see we've got riposte learned at level 1. Every potency and every ability you see here obviously has been adjusted to level 90. So if you're looking at certain potencies as you're leveling these skills up, note that this is just going to evolve as you grow and get closer to level 90. Now you have Jolt. This deals unexpected damage with a potency of 170. It's going to increase both black mana and white mana by 2. Then you've got Ver Thunder. This deals lightning damage with a potency of 360. It increases your black mana by 6, and it gives you a 50% chance of becoming Ver Fire ready, which will allow you to obviously use Ver Fire in this case. Then you got Corp de Core. This is going to rush towards the target and deliver an attack with a potency of 130, with at level 90 a maximum of 2 charges. Then you have Ver Arrow, deals wind damage with a potency of 360, increases white mana by 6. This also then has that 50% chance of becoming Ver Stone ready. Then you've got Scatter. This is your AoE ability, deals unexpected damage with a potency of 120 to a target and all enemies nearby. The acceleration potency is going to be 170. It's going to increase both black mana and white mana by 3. Then you've got Ver Arrow 2. Ver Thunder 2. I'm reading ahead in this case. Deals lightning damage with a potency of 140 to a target and all enemies nearby. Increases black mana by 7. Then you can see Ver Arrow 2, which I was reading early again in this case. Deals wind damage with a potency of 140 to target and all enemies nearby. Increases white mana by 7. Then you see Ver Fire, deals fire damage with a potency of 130. It's going to increase black mana by 5 and can only be executed under the effect of Ver Fire Ready. Then you see Ver Stone deals earth damage with a potency of 330, increases white mana by 5, and can only be executed while under the effect of Ver Stone Ready. Then you got Zerwit Atchu, and I'm probably going to butcher some of these words, so I do apologize. Bear with me. Not on purpose, just how my brain functions. Delivers an attack with a potency of 100. Now, under the combo action of Riposte or Enhance Riposte, that combo potency is 150. The action is upgraded to Enchanted Zerachu if both black magic and white mana are 15 or more. Then you see Displacement, and this delivers an attack with a potency of 180. The additional effect here is a 15 yam step back with maximum of 2 charges. Cannot be executed while bound, and shares a recast timer with engagement. And then you have engagement here, obviously, delivers an attack with a potency of 180 with maximum 2 charges. So this has no step back, and this has that jump back ability. So if you want to get around the arena, you can use this. If you want to stay where you are because you're going to fly off the arena, then there you go. Then you got Fletch, delivers an attack with a potency of 460. This is an off the global cooldown, so this is really great for weaving in, especially on your different cast times. Then you've got Redoublement, delivers an attack with a potency of 100. Zerachu or Enhanced Zerachu are its combo actions, and with the combo you get a potency of 230. Action is upgraded to Enhanced Redoublement if both black mana and white mana are at 15 or more. Then you see Acceleration, ensures the next Ver Thunder 3, Ver Arrow 3, or Impact can be cast immediately. And so essentially what this does is basically gives you that ability to get that up and running. Increases your potency of your impact by 50, ensures Ver Thunder 3 and Ver Arrow 3 trigger and Ver Fire Ready and Ver Stone Ready respectively, and it's got that maximum of 2 charges. So this is something, especially with that recast, that charge time of 55 seconds and 2 charges, Acceleration is going to be one of your best friends and one of the best tools in your kit. Moulinet, you delivers an attack with a potency of 60 to all enemies in a cone before you. Action is upgraded to Enhance Moulinet if both black mana and white mana are at 20 or more. Then you see Ver Cure, restores target HP, cure potency 350. Note this is learned at level 54, so if you are in level 50 content, red mages won't be able to cure. And sometimes I have to remind myself that of why is that red mage not helping out or not raising, because raising is definitely learned a little bit later at level 64. Then you got Contra 6. This is the AoE version of Fletch, but you can still have both of them. They're on their own cooldowns. Delivers an attack with a potency of 360 to target and all enemies nearby. Then you see Embolden, increases your own magic damage dealt by 5% and damage dealt to nearby party members by 5. And that is going to last for 20 seconds. But it is on a 2-minute cooldown. But be sure to make sure you're using your Embolden. Then you got Manification, increases both black mana and white mana by 50. The additional effect here is it's going to grant 6 stacks of Manification. Manification's effect is going to increase magic damage dealt by 5%. That's going to last for 15 seconds. All combos are canceled upon execution of Manification and can only be executed while in combat. And then you see Jolt 2, deals unexpected damage with a potency of 130. This is obviously the upgrade there. And it's going to increase your black mana and white mana by 2. So this is the upgrade to Jolt. Then you see Verraise at 64, will allow you to resurrect in a weakened state to anybody on your party member party list. Would recommend maybe like doing a cast so you get that insta cast, because anytime as a red mage you cast a spell, as long as it has a cast time, the next spell is insta cast, so you can actually be very, very beneficial to your group that way. Impact, this deals unexpected damage with a potency of 210 to the target and all enemies nearby. The acceleration potency here is at 260. It's going to increase both black mana and white mana by 3. Then you see Reprise, delivers an attack with a potency of 100. Action is upgraded to Enhance Reprise if both black mana and white mana are above 5 or more. Then you see Ver Thunder 3. This is the upgrade to Ver Thunder. Deals lightning damage with a potency of 380. Increases black mana by 6 with that 50% chance of becoming Ver Fire Ready. Ver Arrow 3 here deals wind damage with a potency of 380. Increases white mana by 6 with a 50% chance of becoming Ver Stone Ready. Then at level 86, you learn Magic Barrier, reduces magic damage when taken by self and nearby party members by 10%, while increasing HP recovered by healing actions by 5%. And then this is where we start getting into our enchanted, either word works, I guess, abilities here. Now, note that, especially like if you look at the level 90 ability resolution, that's not something you slot. That's a part of an upgraded combo. Same thing with Scorch here. So just note we'll cover those through this series right now. Enchanted Riposte deals unexpected damage with a potency of 220, grants a mana stack, and it's going to use 20 black mana and 20 white mana. So just note that's going to be what drains out of your bar, but it will grant a mana stack. And if you look at your little UI here, you get the 3, and then that's going to open up obviously Verflare and Verholy, and getting you that combo. So you need 3 of those. Enhanced Zwitcher 2 deals unexpected damage with a potency of 100. Combo action with Riposte or Enchanted Riposte, you get a combo potency of 290, and it's going to grant a mana stack, and it's going to use 15 black mana and 15 white mana. Then you have Enchanted Redoublement, deals unexpected damage with a potency of 100, but if you combo it, it is now 470 with that mana stack grant, and using 15 black mana and 15 white mana. So all in all, like if you look at this one being 20, this one being 15, this one being 15, you're looking at 50 in terms of that. So you can actually really fill up that bar and go to town with it. Now, Enchanted Moulinet, it's going to deliver that potency with a cone of 130 to all enemies before you, and still will grant you that mana stack, and use 20 each. So you will use more of your bar if you're doing an AoE pull. Then Verflare deals fire damage to the target and all enemies nearby it with a potency of 580 to the first enemy and 60% less for all remaining enemies. Increases black mana by 11 with a 20% chance of becoming Verfire ready, and that could last for 30 seconds. Chance to become Verfire ready increases to 100% if white mana is higher than black mana at the time of execution. Then you see Verholy deals unexpected damage with the target and all enemies nearby with a potency of 580 for the first enemy and 60% less for all remaining enemies, with the white mana increase of 11, 20% chance of becoming Verstone ready, with the 100% guarantee if black mana is higher than white mana at the time of execution. Then you have Enchanted Reprise, deals unexpected damage with a potency of 330, and that is going to use 5 of your black mana and 5 of your white mana. Then you see Scorch, deals unexpected damage to the target and all enemies nearby with a potency of 680 for the first enemy and 60% less for all remaining enemies. It combos off of Verflare or Verholy, increases both black mana and white mana by 4. Jolt 2 and an impact are changed to Scorch upon landing Verflare or Verholy as a combo action. And then you finally have Resolution, deals unexpected damage with the potency in the straight line before you with a potency of 750 for the first and 60% less for all remaining enemies. Combos off of Scorch, increases both black mana and white mana by 4. Scorch is changed to Resolution upon landing Scorch as a combo action. Now, if we jump into our role abilities, if you've been familiar with any of the other casters, you have Addle, lowers target's physical damage dealt by 5% and magic damage dealt by 10%. You have Sleep, puts target to all enemies nearby to sleep. Lucid Dreaming is going to gradually restore your own HP. Then you have Swift Cast. Next spell is cast immediately. And then finally you have Surecast. Spells can be cast without any kind of interruption, nullifies most knockback and draw in effects, and that will last for 6 seconds. So guys, those are the abilities for the Red Mage. Now let's go ahead and put them all together and how I've got them laid out on my hotbars so we can talk about basically how my logic works when doing my rotations. All right, so now we come to the part where we have the layout. Again, I highly encourage you to use the macros to have this auto set up for you. We're going to start with the left-hand side and kind of work our way around, and then we'll cover the expanded setup as well. Note that if you use the macros, it will override any macro that I have, and you can see here I actually use 2 macros, so you will have to drag and drop those on your own, but you're going to have to set up those macros anyway because that is just something that I personally prefer. Here on the left hand side, I've got my Limit Break, then I've got Corp to Core, Emboldened, Surecast, and Lucid Dreaming. Then down here I've got Swifty Cast, Vercure, Verraise, Fletch. Then I've got Contra 6, Impact, Ver Thunder 2, and Ver Arrow 2. And the logic behind it is kind of more on the AoE aspect, and we'll kind of cover my rotation here in just a second. On the right hand side, I've got Jolt 2, Ver Arrow 3, which is the upgrade. So for everybody who's not level 90, you will have some, these skills do auto upgrade. Then I have Ver Thunder 3, Fletch, Ver Stone, Ver Fire, Acceleration, and Contra 6. Then over here on the double cross hotbar, I got Magnification, Embolden, Swift Cast, Magic Barrier, and Sleep. On the expanded cross hotbar, which essentially is very much the same with one minor change, I've got Addle over here, then Riposte, Zarichu, Redoublement, Moulinet, Enchantment, Displacement, and Reprise. Same thing over here, except for you'll see Magic Barrier as well. It just depends on kind of my mood and how I feel. Now, putting it all together ends up being for something pretty simple. You obviously want to cast your easiest, swiftest cast so you can actually get that dual cast instability. Now, obviously, if it doesn't proc, you want to go back into it while trying to somewhat balance your 2 mana. Just note, though, having a slightly imbalanced mana will have an impact on your Verholy and Flare accordingly. So right now, those are in sync. And you can see here, I could actually jump into my enhancement, but I'm not going to do that at the moment. I can go ahead and choose to accelerate, giving myself that enhanced proc to be able to get those up and going. Might as well weave in certain things as well. And slowly building up my bar. Now let's just go ahead and have some fun. Bring it all together. And you see the macro automatically pulls me in. Allows me to come in, and essentially while they're all in sync, it's not going to give me that guarantee for flare or for arrow. But now I can do my AoE ability combo. Now, if I was going to go and do an AoE combo aspect, it's very much over here, where then I go into impacts, and then I can work on balancing out my spells accordingly. And I have Contra 6 as my main one that's going to be in focus, and my mana has gotten more white aspected, so I should work to actually bring up my black mana here just to help myself out. And now I can actually jump into more of my rotation if needed. And here I go back at it again for the combo. Or I could actually do my AoE Moulinet. And that gives me the guaranteed proc of her fire because my mana was out of sync. With the dual cast, I can jump right back in, bring up my mana, and just essentially enjoy Red Mage overall. I love the changes that they made to it. In Endwalker, it feels very comfortable to play on a controller. And so, yeah, I can just jump. Again, if I want the Moulinet, I can do this 3 times. It does use 20, so you want to make sure you have at least 60. Pulling it back for Flare, Scorch, and Resolution. So that is essentially, I'm going to go ahead and actually reset these striking dummies, though I do enjoy the music very much. And with that, essentially, that's kind of my layout and setup. So I think at this point, I want to kind of show you guys my HUD layout. Overall, it's pretty simple. I've got my focus target bar here. I've got my target bar listed up here. I currently play without the minimap in Final Fantasy XIV. I talked about that over on Ginger Prime. If you're curious, I tend to actually really enjoy having that off. I've got my cross hop bar, expanded cross hop bar, my parameter bar, and I have my status enfeeblements actually split out into 3 groups in which that I am able to kind of separate and actually have them all on their own. I've got my debuffs, my buffs, and then I've got my food listed up here, as well as my server info and my party list right there. And then y'all already saw my enemy list listed right there, along with my battle gauge, and for some reason it's showing the main menu as well. But that's essentially kind of hidden behind the action help, but it doesn't really make that big of a difference. Now, if we go into my user macros again, we actually have a couple macros to kind of highlight outside of the ones that I created for easily setting up your hotbar. So what I demonstrated earlier was my riposte, and you can see here if I'm out of range, it does fail through and then uses Corp to Core. And so since Corp to Core has its own little bit of its charged charge time, ideally you don't end up using more than once, and so that allows you to boost yourself in, and then since you're close enough, then you would use riposte. So that's essentially kind of how that easily functions, and that is why you can see me press one button to easily jump in, and then I press that same button again to use riposte because I'm out of range. If you are in range, you're just going to skip over using Corp to Core, and you can use riposte right away. It's going to be up to you whether you want to use something like this or not, but I end up finding it incredibly valuable. And outside of the movement macro and my skill macros, that's all that I use in terms of macros. So that's actually a nice little short section. Now, if we pull up my character, you can see here I'm currently rocking the 560 left-hand side gear with apparently the wrong set of legs. So that's actually as I play, and I'm like, oh, I guess I didn't equip the legs. I'm wondering why I didn't actually equip the legs. I wonder if they're sitting here in my inventory, and they are. So there we go. Now I am actually rocking the appropriate leg gear. Where did those go on my character? And so that is essentially kind of the level 90 artifact set, and on the right hand side the level 580 casting material, casting accessories is what I'm currently rocking here on my red mage. Anyway, guys, that's going to hopefully wrap it up for me for this video. I hope you got something good out of it. If you guys have any questions, sound off below. I'm here to hopefully help make your Final Fantasy XIV journey all the easier, especially when playing on controller. And yeah, without further ado, guys, I thank you. Thanks for watching the video. Thanks for being here. Hopefully I'll see you in my next one. But until then, take care.
Yeah. It's time to chill out on the couch and read some comments. That's right. You know me when it comes to Destiny. I'm off with the clan, and I'm glad you're feeling better. Oh yeah.